Hey everybody, Chris White with the American Battlefield Trust. If you're wondering what's in my hand, that's our handy dandy drone. We've been out to some new property that we're looking at here to preserve on the Chancellorsville battlefield. I'm in an undisclosed location near Dowdell's Tavern, which was here in 1863 during the May 1863 Battle of Chancellorsville. And we're actually down along the 11th Corps line south of the Orange Turnpike. You might be able to make out behind me a scant line of what could be some of the earthworks from the 11th Corps south of the road. The 11th Corps, who is out on the right flank of the Union Army, just to remind you, on May 2nd, 1863, most of them are facing off in that direction towards the south. There's about 800 men facing towards my back, and that's towards the west, and that's where Stonewall Jackson on May 2nd, 1863 will launch his famous flank attack. Well, down in here, we'll have some of the units of the 11th Corps, including the 73rd Pennsylvania, the 154th New York, the Hardtack Regiment, who's seeing their first action. They will be in these earthworks and then eventually start to pull back and face to the west in a scant line known as the Buschbeck line, named after Adolphus Buschbeck, one of the brigade commanders out here on the federal right flank. And that'll be near Dowdell's Tavern, which is owned by Melzi Chancellor. It was constructed in around 1820. Melzi is about 45 years old at the time of the Battle of Chancellorsville. He has 11 kids here. Some are at home, some are going off to war to fight with the Confederacy. 3 of his kids, in fact, go off to fight in the war. 1 of them will not return home. But he is down here in Dowdell's Tavern. That will be used by the pious but vapid Oliver Otis Howard, the 11th Corps commander, as his headquarters. And as the Jackson's flank attack opens on about 5:15 on the evening of May 2nd, 1863, Howard will be coming back from another part of the battlefield just to the north of us, where he is going to be awash in his men. A blue wave will overtake him as these federal soldiers of the 11th Corps start falling back through these woods. At first, we would have seen deer, turkey, quail, other creatures running right past us. Then we would start to see 11th Corps men. Then we'll start to see Stonewall Jackson's 2nd Army Corps coming right over top of this area where we're trying to preserve south of the Orange Turnpike here along the Chancellorsville battlefield. Sometimes it's also called the Orange Plank Road out in this area. The names are interchangeable and can be a little bit confusing, but we'll put a map up there for you. Today, even though we're standing in woods, this is an integral part of the Chancellorsville battlefield. Give you an idea of what the wilderness may have looked like a little bit here in May of 1863. And with your help, the members of the American Battlefield Trust will hopefully preserve this piece of land and start to put together that puzzle out here on Jackson's flank attack at Chancellorsville.
I'm standing at the Dowdell Tavern site on Chancellorsville battlefield. It's right up against the road, modern day Route 3, the Orange Turnpike in 1863. And I wanted to share with you a little bit of history that happens in the night of May 2nd, 1863. The Battle of Chancellorsville has been raging. Jackson's flank attack, the Confederate lines have swept this area. Union resistance had been here briefly, but then collapsed further to the east. And in the darkness, Stonewall Jackson is trying to figure out his next moves. He thinks he wants to shift toward the fords on the Rappahannock River, and he goes out to do some personal scouting, and he gets wounded by friendly fire. That location is closer to the modern-day Chancellorsville Visitor Center. After Jackson is wounded, his men that are with him, some of his staff officers, they start trying to evacuate him from the field. He'll walk part of the way, they'll put him on a stretcher for part of the way. They're gonna drop that stretcher a couple of times, possibly adding to Jackson's injuries even more. Eventually, they're going to find an ambulance, a horse-drawn wagon to help remove him from the field. He's gonna be placed in that ambulance and it's going to proceed west along that Orange Turnpike. When they get to this area where we are today, where Dowdell Tavern would have been, which is a field hospital site by this time, that ambulance is going to stop. And it's here in this area that Jackson's medical director, Dr. Hunter McGuire, who's about 27 years old at the time, he's going to catch up with the ambulance. He's heard that Jackson's been wounded. He's going to find Jackson in a bad condition. Jackson's bleeding badly. He's in a lot of pain. McGuire's going to start his medical care here at this site, and then they'll proceed further west several miles to the Wilderness Tavern area where the Confederate 2nd Corps field hospitals are located. Now, as most of you watching probably already know, Jackson is not going to survive these wounds and a resulting illness, probably pneumonia. He'll be taken to an area called Guinea Station. He'll stay at the Chandler House in one of their office buildings, and on May 10th, 1863, Stonewall Jackson will die at that location. But connected to Jackson's story and the accounts of his medical care is Dottle Tavern, this exact site where we're standing. We have a great opportunity to preserve this land, tell the military history, the personal histories of the war, and then also the medical history as well. So thank you for your support. We hope that you will continue to support battlefield preservation here at Chancellorsville with the American Battlefield Trust.